What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Jay Sneaker Squad, man. We back at it again with another reaction video. Before we get to the reaction and what I want to talk about today, well, actually, it's a sports memorabilia video today. Before we talk about that, before I get to, gotta get my protein ready for the gym. About to go to the gym right now. I'm putting this boxing workout with my trainer Sarah and her husband James. Got my water. Got a shout out to the company that's well, not the company's not sponsoring me or nothing. Shout out to Vitamin Shop, where I went with Johnny Fitness, and Johnny got this creatine. Well, it's actually amino acids to help me with my recuperation. So after the gym, I'm putting in all the hard work and dedication in the gym, whether it's boxing, whether it's full body workouts, whether it's weight training, whether it's whatever I'm doing. This is the stuff that helps me, my amino acids to help me recuperate for the next day or whatever I'm doing. So I have no soreness, no injuries, no nothing that keeps me working in great shape. So this is you can get this item at Vitamin Shop, or you can go in your local GMC. I think if at Vitamin Shop right now, it is $21 with a 50% off coupon. If you go to buy a GMC, I think it's like 45 or 60, but it's what I usually take, powder form. Smells really good. It's actually a strawberry flavor. It's really good. I always do 3 scoops just to get me going for the day, to start my day off and, you know, get me pumped for the gym. So I'm about to go to the gym right now. So I gotta get my scoops in, and I'll get this video started with y'all. But shout out to Johnny Fitness for putting your boy on game with this stuff. Johnny Fitness, my trainer, always looking out for me, always making sure I get the right supplements in my body to keep me going and do what I do on a daily, normally basis for workouts and stuff. Ooh, powder. Good. But thank you, Johnny Fitness. Love you, man. All right. But we're going to talk about, I was promised to do, I know Thursday when I shot this video for you guys are looking forward to your boy Jay Sneaker Squad to do a video about the greatest boxing knockouts in boxing history. But I kind of shot the video. Somebody on YouTube wasn't having it, and it didn't come out the way I wanted it to do. So I had to take it down. So my apologies to y'all, my Sneaker Gang Squad fan, and everybody in the boxing commission, whatever. I just didn't want to offend anybody, but if YouTube approves of it, great. If YouTube doesn't, I don't want no problems with YouTube at the end of the day, so I took it down. So I've just got my sports memorabilia of boxing I'm about to show right now, you guys, and I'm about to talk about the biggest fight in boxing history of 2023 that's about to come up this year. So before we get to that, let me get a swig of this, and we'll get going. For the gym. Gotta keep going, baby. All right, let's go. First of all, in boxing history, there was a lot of great fighters. You had the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, the ones who was my biggest idol, who I look up to, Muhammad Ali. Then I had Mike Tyson. Then I had Roy Jones Jr. And then I had, if you go down to the list, Rocky Marciano, one of the greatest. Pretty boy Floyd Mayweather Sr., Jr. I love Floyd Mayweather. Can't go wrong with him, man. Flamboyant, flashy, very pretty. Say I'm too pretty. Like kind of had a style like Muhammad Ali, a little bit too, but can back it up in the ring, man, and have the Philly shuffle. The Philly shuffle, the shoulder roll that everyone calls. It's actually the Philly shuffle, but he used it and progressed it into his style of boxing to become one of the greatest defending boxers and counter punchers in the game today. So shout out to Floyd Mayweather. Number love for you, bro. Who else we have? If you go down to Mexican fighters, Alessa Saguayo, Alberto Duran, Oscar De La Hoya, and my personal favorite, my father's most really first personal favorite, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Well, Jr. and Senior, we also have Sergio Mora, if you want to go even more further down the list, we have Prince Nassim Hamed, Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, Erte Libre, you also have Ricky Hatton. You also have Manny Pacquiao, the Pac-Man Pacquiao. You also have the assassin killer Pacquiao. They always call him El Matador. He used to always kill the Mexican guys, you know, our Mexican fighters. We also have well, they made the movie. What's his name? I can't even say his name. It's on the tip of my tongue too. Well, anyway, all these great boxers that you look up to in the ring, you know, the Lennox Lewis, the Nassim Rahman, the Klitschko brothers, you know, the list can go on and on of all these, Butterbean, you know, all these great boxers, Evander Holyfield, the real deal Holyfield, you know, all these great boxers in general have one thing in common. They had great careers, great things they accomplished in the world of boxing, you know, and stuff they're doing now, you know. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I have some sports memorabilia of boxing. Down here in San Antonio, Texas, was one of the biggest fights in boxing history. It's a story I'm bringing y'all. Come on, picture yourself coming along with me in this story, okay? You're sitting, Julio Cesar Chavez, one of the greatest Mexican fighters in the world, undefeated in this fight. I think he was undefeated in this fight, I'm not too sure. He was here in San Antonio, going to fight one of the second undefeated fighters, best pound for pound. I think they were at one. Hello, Google, stop. It's my alarm for the gym. See, I'm running a little late. I get the story for you guys. I got distracted with my bell for the gym. I'm thinking of what I got to take to the gym, what I got to work out with. But we're going to finish this off for you guys. Julio Cesar Chavez, okay, here in San Antonio, Texas, right? One of the greatest undefeated fighters, going to fight one of the African Americans' greatest fighters, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Yes. All right, Julio Cesar Chavez, one of the greatest undefeated boxers in boxing history, here in San Antonio, Texas, was going to fight one of the greatest African American fighters in the world, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Both fighters undefeated right here in San Antonio, Texas. About to throw down the biggest fight here in San Antonio, Texas. In training camp, headline newspaper articles of the fight of here in San Antonio. We have it right here, right now, and I'm going to show you it. Okay. This is very old newspaper, very old days, you can see. Okay. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, one of the greatest African-American undefeated fighters, coming into this fight in San Antonio, Texas. You can see headline news. Julio Cesar Chavez, the best Mexican fighter, undefeated, here in San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio fighters, well, what are we known for? Hispanic heritage. So, you got the unprized prodigal son, Julio Cesar Chavez, gonna fight Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. My dad went to that fight here in San Antonio, and he's a big Julio Cesar Chavez fan since he was a kid. Julio Cesar Chavez had a lot of great fights here in San Antonio, Texas, which was like 100 and something fights here in San Antonio. And he got it signed by Julio Cesar Chavez at the fight. My dad's prized possession. He passed it down to me. I'll pass it down to my son from generation to generation to generation. Thank you, Julio Cesar Chavez, for what you did to my father. You made his night one of the greatest champions to fight one of the greatest African-American fighters, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Both fighters undefeated that night. Mexican's prodigal son won that night. Undefeated. Julio Cesar Chavez. Hands Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker his first loss. Great boxing memorabilia. Then, from how, you know, in boxing, legacy of generation passes down to generation to generation to generation to generation. Okay? Julio Cesar Chavez was known as a prodigal son, undefeated boxer in the world, known as the greatest undefeated fighter to beat fighters after fighters. And then his time's coming down now, little by little. He has fought in many fights now. I think he has like 180 something fights already now, and he has 3 losses in his record. I mean, 2 losses to one loss to his record, 1 loss. So he's come down to fight another great young Mexican up-and-coming fighter here in San Antonio, Texas. Right here from San Antonio, Texas. That young Mexican fighter, prodigal son, Oscar De La Hoya. Now, Oscar De La Hoya had a training camp here in San Antonio, Texas, while he was getting ready to fight Julio Cesar Chavez. Now, in this fight, I gotta get my stuff in before I go to the gym. He was supposed to fight Oscar. He had a training camp at Big Bear in California before he was getting ready to fight Julio Cesar Chavez. Now, in this fight, Oscar De La Hoya knocks out Julio Cesar Chavez and becomes boxing biggest Mexican fighter. He becomes worldwide known as the Golden Boy. I had a cousin who was in the I have a cousin who's in reporter business in Mexico. Is a reporter, and he takes pictures and stuff of certain events that he's at. Happened to be at a great event in De La Hoya's training camp in Big Bear, California. So he took some pictures, and I'm a big fan of Oscar De La Hoya, so he gave them to me before when he was at the training camp. Here's picture number 1. As you can see, Oscar De La Hoya right here in training camp, getting ready for the Julio Cesar Chavez fight. Once again, Oscar De La Hoya again here, signing some boxing gloves, getting ready for Oscar De La Hoya's fight with Julio Cesar Chavez. And last but not least, here he is signing a magazine to a fan right here at the training camp. Oscar De La Hoya, getting ready for his big fight against Julio Cesar Chavez. Now, as you can see, in the fight when he fought Julio Cesar Chavez, both fighters put on a great performance. At the end of the day, Oscar De La Hoya comes out as your champion and beats Julio Cesar Chavez, one of the greatest fighters. Both fighters went on to have great careers. Both fighters are well known as best Mexican legend fighters. Also, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Now, like I said, the list of boxing legends go on and on. Like I've named a couple of few right now in the beginning of the video. But as you see this video, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, damn, all these great fighters, all these great Mexican fighters, they had all go on to have great careers. Now, if you look on Sports Beyond Belief, I think on YouTube, or you can go anywhere and look it up on YouTube or anywhere, they talk about these athletes' careers. There's some about Julio Cesar Chavez's whole career. You can look it up and see what he's been through his whole career and all the greatest fights he has. They had some with Oscar De La Hoya. You look his career up, you can talk about all his career and great hats. They had one of Roy Jones Jr. They also have one of Roy Jones Jr. Oh, it's on my throat. Also have one of Roy Jones Jr. They also have one of Meldrick Taylor. One of the greatest fights of Julio Cesar Chavez that I always remember, that my dad always talks about, is Meldrick Taylor and Julio Cesar Chavez. Meldrick Taylor is one of the greatest African-American fighters out of the Olympics. USA. Gold medalist fighter, the greatest. Undefeated. Going up against Julio Cesar Chavez. Mexican undefeated fighter. Both fighters are great. Comes down to the wire in the fight. Both fighters are doing damage to each other. Julio Cesar Chavez is doing his damage to the body. Meldrick Taylor is doing his damage up on top of the body. Now, Meldrick Taylor thinks he has a fight in the bag. They go all 12 rounds. Last 15 minutes in the 12th round of the fight, Meldrick Taylor is up on the scorecard, winning the whole fight. Julio Cesar Chavez is down by, I say, about 2 points in the fight. Throws a tremendous body shot over the right hook, over the left hand. Knocks down Meldrick Taylor. Meldrick Taylor gets down, knocked down, gets back up. The referee is counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you okay? Are you okay? He asks Meldrick Taylor. Meldrick Taylor says, yes, I'm fine. I can continue. I can continue. Referee says, no, you're done. Stops the fight. Ruins Meldrick Taylor's life. Well, doesn't ruin it, but it doesn't ruin his life. He just, Meldrick Taylor took a big, in his eyes, He could have won that fight. In his eyes, he had that fight won. In his eyes, the person who ruined that fight for him was a referee. Now, if you watch the documentary about Magic Taylor, he talks about what he feels and what he really goes through in that fight. My eyes as a fan, when I watched that documentary, seeing the stuff that Magic Taylor went through in his whole entire life, I feel bad for the fighter. Now, boxers can be our biggest role models. Boxers can be our biggest we can be their biggest fans of them, but at the same time, too, no one really knows what they go through on a daily basis. It's a tough sport. It's a tough sport. It's a tough, sport to do. Period. Because every day you're putting your body on the line. Every day you're putting your body through hell to work out, to stay in shape, and to do what you do. Have a passion to love what you do. Every day you're in the ring, sacrificing your life, putting your body through pain and damage because you're beating the heck out of each other against your another opponent that you're facing or that you're fighting. And Muhammad Ali is living proof of one of it. He didn't know what was one of the greatest fighters ever to live. Was one of the greatest fighters to ever do what he does. And I'm a biggest fan of Muhammad Ali. He's one of my biggest idols. To see what he did in the world of boxing, the sport of boxing, and then now as he got older, you see how his sickness that he had because he didn't know when to quit. Same thing with Magic Taylor. It's something like you see in the video. And it's sad to say some of the fighters like that love the sport so much but don't know when to call it quits. You know what I'm saying? But it's my opinion. Everyone has every other opinion. There was a fight like that too for Oscar De La Hoya that I remember. That was one of the great fighters too. Oscar De La Hoya, undefeated fighter, great fighter ever. Going into, as known as a golden boy, going into one of the biggest fights of his life, facing Felix Trinidad, Puerto Rican's prodigal son. And I was a big fan of Felix Trinidad. Puerto Rico's son, Oscar De La Hoya, Felix Trinidad, both undefeated fighters, going into this fight. Who's going to win? Oscar De La Hoya puts on the performance of a lifetime against Felix Tito Trinidad. They're in the fight, deep in the middle of the fight. Round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, and 7. Oscar De La Hoya dominates the fight. Moves forward the whole time in the fight. Around round 7, I say around 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, De La Hoya stopped dominating the fight like he normally did. He ran around the ring. He saw himself up on the scorecard. His manager, you can see in the ring, his trainer even tells him, "You're up on the scorecard. You're up on the scorecard. You got it. So in De La Hoya's eyes, I got the fight. What am I doing? I got the fight. I'm good. So De La Hoya's eyes, he's got the fight. And Trinidad starts saying, okay, he's not coming forward no more. I'm going to come forward now. Let me start doing me. And Trinidad's eyes, he starts coming back. As Trinidad comes back, he gets points up on the board and ends up winning the fight in the last few minutes. A lot of people say De La Hoya won. A lot of people say Felix Trinidad won. In my eyes, I think De La Hoya should have won, but in the last few minutes, when the going gets tough, in my eyes, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. But in my eyes, De La Hoya, if he was pressuring him and putting that much type of pressure on him, you should have kept it up during the last few rounds. But I think De La Hoya got tired and Trinidad capitalized at the end, the last minute. But a lot of people say Trinidad did win that fight, so I can't say who won or lost. Or really, I was a big De La Hoya fan that day, so I was kind of disappointed that he lost. But it happens in the world of boxing. So 2 big fights, 2 big disappointing fights that I remember in these careers' lives. But now I'm going to take you to the green screen, and I'm going to show you a fight that's in nowadays, 2023. Kind of similar. 2 great undefeated fighters in our prime now in 2023. You have Gervonta Tank Davis, one of the greatest 5'5" undefeated fighters in the pound-for-pound world of 135. Gervonta Tank Davis, manager, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather, money team. Let's go, baby. TMT, the money team. Gervonta Tank Davis modeled his career after his manager, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. When you're a young up and coming fighter, and you're in the money team, and when you're in the money team as your manager, and you learn from the greatest fighter of 50-0, as known as Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather, 50 wins, no losses, undefeated fighter. You learn from the great. You learn the boxing game from the greatest promoter, agent, and manager and fighter, and Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. He teaches you how the business. He teaches you how the business works. Teaches you how the game is played. Teaches you how you can make your money, how you can get your stuff, all the right fights, how to take all the right fights, and how to work your way up on the rankings, and how to win your belts, and how to be known as the best fighter pound for pound in this game from Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis is one of the greatest fighters I've seen, and he's dominating the boxing game right now. Now that Pretty Boy Floyd's gone, I think when the last two good fighters we have had in the world of boxing lately was when Oscar De La Hoya was pretty much done, washed up and done. He had nothing left, and his time. Like I said, every fighter has their time. Chavez had his time. De La Hoya had his time to shine. And then we went on from De La Hoya and say goodbye to De La Hoya's, the next Lewis's, Evander Holyfield's. We're moving on to younger up-and-coming fighters now. Floyd grabbed the reins. And when Floyd Mayweather grabbed the reins of boxing, he was the hottest thing in boxing ever since then. He took the reins when De La Hoya dropped it, picked up the ball and ran with it and never looked back. And he was the only hottest thing in boxing because you had UFC, you had MMA, you had all these other things, but no one made boxing what it was and what it is till now, like Floyd Mayweather has. Floyd Mayweather grabbed the ball when De La Hoya dropped it and made boxing what it is now. Amazing. Boxing is not as big like it used to be, but when Floyd was around, it was the biggest thing. Floyd was putting on the big money fights. Floyd was fighting all the fighters everybody wanted, making all the fights everybody wanted to see. And, he was winning them. He was talking his shit, but backing it up and doing it. Now, he just puts on some shows for certain people that they want to see. But Floyd has been known as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. No one's done boxing back has Floyd done. You know what I'm saying? And you got to give credit when credit's due. And I think when Floyd decided to call it quits and decided to start becoming the agent and the manager side of the business, they needed a fighter to pick up the reins and start grabbing it. And no one has done that now like Tank Davis, Gervonta Tank Davis. And Gervonta's been learning his craft from Floyd and learning his stuff that he needs to learn from Floyd, and he's been doing it. And now Gervonta has a ball, and he's not looking back. Has picked up the reins and now moving along and hasn't looked back. But there's also a new up-and-coming young fighter, too. Ryan Garcia. / YouTuber, like your boy. But also Ryan Garcia is a new up-and-coming young fighter himself. Now, Ryan Garcia is trained by, manager, and trained by Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya. Ryan Garcia is a great fighter. Ryan Garcia is a young and up-and-coming fighter. Ryan Garcia is a great fighter. He's undefeated. He's 5'10", and I think he's in the 135 division too. Both fighters dominate the 135 division. Both fighters are great. Both fighters are undefeated. I think Ryan Garcia has 27 wins though, and Gervonta Tank Davis has 23 wins. Both fighters have knockouts. Both fighters are very strong. But I think if you look at it, Gervonta Tank Davis in his division has 4 belts, and Ryan Garcia has 1 in his division. Both fighters are very good and undefeated. But in my eyes, honest opinion, in my eyes, I seriously think I'll give you my prediction on the green screen. Come with me to the green screens, Jay. Snicker Squad. Let's go. All right, this is your boy, Jay Snicker Squad. I'm just giving you my reaction on the fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, and I'm going to give you the reviews of other fighters and their opinions. But before we do this, my opinion, I think it's going to be a close fight. Both fighters are very well trained and groomed. Ryan Garcia is younger. Gervonta Tank Davis is a little bit more older, but at the end of the day, Javante Tank Davis has more experience. He has a little bit more tougher fighters than Ryan. Had a little more tougher fights than Ryan had. Ryan had I'm not saying he had easy fights either. Some of his fights were very tough. The tough fight that he had, he was knocked down but got back up and still won the fight and knocked the other fighter back out. So both fighters are very good and very experienced. Both fighters are talking trash. Ryan's talking trash, but Ryan's been calling out Javante for a long time, for a very, very long time, and is still calling out Javante Tank Davis for a long time. Javante Tank Davis has just said he's a kid, he's a kid, he's a kid, he's a kid. Well, Ryan's in his 20s now, and Javante's still in his 20s too, but it's time. It's time. A lot of De La Hoya went on TV has been saying it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Let's do it in April. This year of April, the fight is gonna happen. Ryan Garcia versus Javante Tank Davis. Javante Tank Davis just had a fight this month on last 2 Saturdays ago and won the fight. A knockout. Javante wins again. He says he's gonna take a couple of breaks off and come back. Ryan's next. Is it true? Or we're gonna have to wait longer? We don't know. I'm just giving you other fighters' predicaments, and then we're going to call it a day. But let's go. These are other boxers that are actually fighters, up-and-coming young fighters in the game right now, in the fight game, giving their promotions on KO Boxing. KO Boxing, this YouTuber, shot him out. He's interviewing other fighters. Subscribe to his channel. He's a great promoter, talking a lot of great access to great nowadays fighters, and they're giving him their opinion on the Javante Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia's fight. I'll give you my opinion afterwards. I just gave you my predicaments. I'm gonna give you my opinion at the end of the fight. But I want to see these other fighters' predicaments, what they're saying nowadays fighters, their predicaments, and what they're saying about who's gonna win the fight. And then at the end of the day, I'll give you mine.
Versus Ryan Garcia. Well, that's another one that maybe we'll get, maybe we won't. Do you lean one way or the other with those two guys?
I really think it's a closer fight than what people think it is. Because look, they both have knockout power. They both have game-changing power. You know, the only I see pluses and negatives on both sides. You know, not gonna go into detail, but they both can exploit each other. I feel like.
Who has more pluses? Who has more negatives? Or it's just kind of
It's
even
hard.
out.
It doesn't even matter the amount. It's how big that, you know, how big a certain one is, how big one is going to play in the factor. You know, it doesn't matter how many you have. You can have 10, but one is this big.
Right.
You know?
And then that's the one that means something, right? Yeah. Awesome, Virgil.
In and around your division, 2 names stick out in particular: Javante Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Tell me what you think that those two were to get together. How would that fight go?
It's a great fight. You know, Ryan Garcia is a great fighter. He's fast, he's strong, and you know, Javante Davis is strong too. He's a really great fighter. But I think if they fight each other, I think Javante Davis will knock him out. I think, you know, he's really strong, and Ryan Garcia, he gets hit with those big hooks. So I think he's gonna end up falling.
If we get it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who has the speed?
This is the guy who owns the channel. Shout him out. You can subscribe to his channel. Show him this guy some love. He has access that we don't, where he can go ahead and interview famous fighters. These are other famous fighters' predictions. So I'm just watching that and reacting to it, and then I'll give you my reaction afterwards.
Advantage, and how much of a factor is that going to play in the fight?
I'm gonna just say it like this. I left the Fortuna fight intrigued. Ryan, I believe, is a pretty basic boxer, and I won't say everything that he does or does not do, because I feel like I would be exposing what he has or what he doesn't have. But I think he's kind of he's got one tempo and one way of operating. But this power that he has and this power that he believes in, I'm starting to believe in it. I'm intrigued. Like, is it as real as you're saying it is, or is it these guys that you're in the ring with? I don't know. I just don't know. And so when he touched Fortuna a couple of times and Fortuna stopped moving, I mean, that's an indication that you've done something to make somebody uncomfortable and get them out of what they do well and what they wanted to do. You know?
Exactly.
And then the way he knocked out Fortuna, I was just like, is this real? Because I'm saying that because if it is real, I give him a legit.
Resolutions are out. Sure, lofty goals are great, but so are small wins, like better sleep.
A legitimate chance against Tank Davis. Tank is my number one at 135. I find it hard to see anybody beating Tank, but at the same time, I do think there's some very, very competitive fights out there, and I do think that there's some fights that he could lose if he doesn't operate the way that he can. But with Tank and Ryan specifically, and I'm not saying Ryan only has power, but I'm just very intrigued by that hook, about the timing, and the velocity.
Exactly.
I mean, all those scientific words. You got to put all those scientific words on that hook. Something about it. So, and I think that we could see him thinking the other night when he fought Fortuna, which is a really good sign that you're starting to, develop more. So, I think that if that fight gets made, while I would definitely pick Tank, I would actually be watching the fight like this, like just waiting to see what Ryan can do, So that's it.
Man, it's gonna be, that was a beautiful kind of a little appetizer for it, because you're right, it is one of the question marks, right? Is if that right hook landed on Fortuna, like you said, Fortuna was like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's on his knees. You know what I mean?
And he was thinking at that point. I was watching the fight. Shout out to Barack. We were watching the fight, and I leaned in to tell Barack something, and Ryan made an adjustment and started throwing a wide right hand opposed to just a straight right hand, and landed it in clock Fortuna. So I mean, again, you can see that he's thinking, and that he's a little bit more comfortable in there, which are good signs if you want to take on somebody like Tank Davis.
Last one, man. Tank versus Ryan. I know you left Golden Boy, but you and Ryan are still cool. I mean, who knows? That's another one, right? Like, who knows what happens? But I mean, how do you think that speed matchup between those two guys plays out?
You know what? The great thing about that matchup is I think whoever gets caught with a good shot can get hurt, because they both hit hard, and I think they both have to just come in there with the right game plan. I think it's going to be in the beginning rounds, maybe like the first 3 rounds, it's going to be kind of like a chess match, a little patient, you're not really going to see much, and then somebody's going to have to pick it up and take a risk to catch the other with a big shot. So, you know me, I'm Ryan's my guy, so I got Ryan for that. Yeah.
Keyshawn, I just remembered you sparred Tank as well, right?
Yeah.
When you sparred Tank, what did you learn about yourself when that happened?
I learned that I can hang in there with the elite level. I feel like I can take a punch, because he caught me with, well, I remember he caught me 2 good shots. He caught me 1 good hook, and he caught me 1 good straight. And knowing Tank, like, you don't know really to expect when you get caught with a good shot. So he told me I could really take a punch. He told me I could box with the best. And shit, I feel like Tank, he tested me. He tested my skill in a way where I always had to like stay sharp, watch out for his power, and just be real defensive. Because I'm not really a defensive fighter. Even though I got great defense, I love fighting like Tank does. So he had me fighting a style that I don't usually fight, and I feel like I got better at it. I capitalized it. I learned a lot from sparring Tank, man. Shout out to Tank.
Versus Ryan, a lot of people are talking about it. I believe I heard you in an interview say before, skills pay the bills.
Yeah.
That right hook from Ryan is very fast, comes very hard. Sean Porter and I were talking about it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that maybe this is the best time for Ryan to take that step with Tank, or do you think maybe Ryan needs a little bit more fights, or maybe just it is what it is and Tank just will have his number, in your opinion?
Honestly, what I think Ryan doing right now is just promoting the fight. I don't really necessarily, Oscar De La Hoya say they in conversations, but I don't really believe Oscar De La Hoya. Me looking outside in, I think Ryan is just promoting the fight, trying to get the talks back going again, because it used to be that, and then Ryan fell off for a little bit, it got quiet, now he's trying to bring this shit back. So right now he's just promoting the fight, but if we just talk about them actually fighting, I don't see them fighting this year. Probably next year. If they fight this year, they're going to surprise me. But I don't see them fighting this year. You got the Errol Spence and the Terrence Crawford fight that niggas waiting for. If I was there, I probably would carry that fight to next year. Because you got, or, I don't know. But I don't see that shit.
As greedy fans, boxing, we could get greedy, no? We could get both of them.
I mean, yeah, you could, but how I would think about it, I'm not in a position, so I'm just talking, right? So how I would think about it, I would want all the attention on me. So if it's Floyd Mayweather fighting the end of the year, I would let Floyd Mayweather have that shine. I'm gonna show up in January. Because everybody gonna be like, oh, it's another big fight. Let's tune in. Rather than I'm pulling for Floyd, you pulling for me.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? That's how I think about it, but shit.
Tank and Ryan are in December. They're talking about being in December. How do you feel about the fact that their talks intensified almost kind of after you collected all the hardware, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they had no other way to go. They got to fight each other, or, you know, it's only thing they can do, because who are they going to just keep fighting bums and keep fighting nobodies for no belts? So it's either they fight each other or they go through me.
Behold now the rematch. It will be very interesting. It will be very interesting. I think Canelo need this.
Well, what do you think Tank and Ryan? What do you think about Tank and Ryan? How does that play out?
50-50.
Thank you, Lama. Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it, guys. Shout out to KO, that YouTuber who interviewed these fighters and amateur fighters. They give everyone gave their honest opinion about the biggest fight of boxing right now. That's gonna the 135 that could happen. And like I said, they're saying in April, but they're saying it could happen this year or could it? Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis. You got Flash and Ryan Garcia with speed and power. Who's was that right hand or that left hook that he throws really the good one that's going to knock out Gervonta Tank Davis? You know, he's learning on the fly, Ryan Garcia. You got Gervonta Tank Davis, great manager from Floyd Mayweather's, learned the whole game, the fight game from Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather, who's 50-0. Will Tank Davis be like Floyd Mayweather and have 50-0 too? An undefeated career his whole year. Two great young fighters in the fight game. Ryan Garcia with 1 belt, Gervonta Tank Davis with 4 belts. It's a great fight. I think it should happen. As you heard David Haney say, that if they should fight, and at the end of the day, if I have all the belts, you want it, come get me. David Haney's a great fighter too, in the 135 division. And he said too, who are they gonna fight? Bums, you know, and they can't. It's true. So my honest opinion, they're both great young fighters, the up and coming game. I like Ryan Garcia. He's a great young fighter. I want Ryan Garcia to win, but in my eyes, I think Gervonta Tank Davis is going to pull the W over Gervonta Tank Davis. I think Ryan Garcia doesn't know what he's asking for in this fight, and my honest opinion, I think the money team is going to take it again. When you got Floyd Mayweather, an undefeated fighter, in Gervonta Tank Davis's corner, giving him pointers and letting him know what he's going to do for this fight, I just think Gervonta Tank Davis is gonna know how to. I think it's gonna be a close fight. I think Ryan's gonna put some damage on Tank, but Gervonta Tank Davis has a strong chin. He showed that in his last couple of fights. He can take a punch, and Ryan's gonna hit him with some good shots and give him some good damage. And then I think in the later rounds, in 8th round, Gervonta Tank Davis is gonna figure out Ryan and get him in the later rounds and knock him out. So I think Gervonta Tank Davis wins this fight. That's my honest opinion. No disrespect to Ryan. I love you. I'm a big fan of you too, bro, and your YouTube channel and everything, but I just think this is a fight you're not ready for yet. And I think if you'll have a rematch and guys do a rematch, I think Ryan wins the rematch in the second fight, if they have one. But that's my honest opinion. This is your boy, Jay Snicker Squad. Thank you for joining me for the sports memorabilia and reactions on the biggest fight in boxing right now, Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. This is your boy, Jay Snicker Squad. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up to help your boy out. We are at 107 subscribers, and none of this would be possible without you guys. Like I said again, we're on our way up to the top. There ain't nowhere else going but up to the top. Shout out to KO Nation Boxing for the interviews, these fighters that we can't access, that we can't get, they can. And subscribe to him. He's a great YouTuber and has great access of stuff you guys want to see. So if you want to do, please shout him out and go ahead and subscribe to them and show them some love. Also, I got to hit the gym now and put in my work in the gym, boxing fitness right now. But I just want to say thank you, Sick and Gang Squad, for joining me for this quick little YouTube video. I love you guys. Don't forget to stay motivated, stay positive through them tough days where you feel like the world is on your shoulders and you got nothing left. Don't give up on yourself. Wake up, look yourself in the mirror and say, I can do this. So you pick yourself up on them tough days, dust yourself off, keep on going. moving forward, because at the end of the day, when you go to bed, you wake up the next morning, look yourself in that mirror, you want to say, hey, I'm a W winner. There ain't no losers on this team. We're all winners. This is your boy Jay Snicker Squad. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me for this boxing reaction video off the biggest fight in boxing history this year. If it happens this year or if it happens next year, Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Flash versus the Tank. Who will win? Your honest opinion. Comment at the bottom. Let your boy Jay Snicker Squad know your comments. I love you guys. Peace, man. Catch y'all next video.